All right, Derbyites, we're going to discuss a race that couldn't just get 6 people. It had to have 8 nominees. Best Comedy Supporting Actress. I'm Amanda Spears. I'm joined by Tony Rees, Riley Chow, Tom O'Brien, and Zach Laws. Now, the last time there were 8 nominees in this category, Merritt Wever won. And I think she was in 6th or 7th in our prediction center. So we're going to break this up and talk about the bottom 4 based on the Gold Derby odds first. And keep in mind, one of these potential 4 could actually pull off a win. So we're going to talk about how they might be able to do that, not how the hell did they get in this category. So currently in the bottom 4, we have in 5th place Betty Gilpin from Glow, the only nomination for acting. Zazie Beetz for Atlanta. Leslie Jones on her 2nd nomination for SNL. And Aidy Bryant, who got nominated also for SNL. So which of those 4 has the best chance of pulling off kind of an interesting upset?
Zazie Beetz, I would suspect, considering she's in a show that could possibly win comedy series. I think if you see a Zazie Beetz victory for Atlanta, I can understand why she is ranked in the bottom 4, considering there's 8 nominees here. The fact that she got nominated, she's not in a lot of Atlanta. I think she was only in about 4 episodes this season.
Yeah.
And her episodes are not like the broadly comic episodes of Atlanta. They're the more serious, kind of down-to-earth episodes. A lot of it is her having problems with her boyfriend or, with their kid and things like that. But I think the fact that she got in speaks to how much they like Atlanta and how much they like her. So I could see her, being that one. Like we said, I mean, there's 8 nominees, so I'm no good at math, but I suspect you don't really need that much of a vote to.
And she was in Deadpool 2, so her profile has definitely been raised.
And she is also, an ingenue, which doesn't hurt. So if out of those 4, I would say she's got to have the best chance. What do you guys think? Yeah,
you only need like 12.6% of the vote to win this category.
Thank you, mathematician.
You're welcome.
I say it's Betty Gilpin, just because the 2nd season of Glow came out after voting for the nominations, and she has a much bigger role in that one.
I could see that, yeah.
I wouldn't mind if it was Leslie Jones. I think she had a really good season. And she's one of my favorites from SNL. I personally think she should have submitted the Tiffany Haddish episode. I think she was stronger in that one. But
especially the space character sketch, which I thought she was terrific in.
And the unicorn and the host. I think she would just had so much more to do. And she's usually the one that I think of as like okay in the sketches, but really great in the shorts. She was really great in the sketches that episode. I thought that was one of her stronger outings.
I think a much superior season than last year when she was first nominated. Aidy Bryant is really one of my favorites, but I see this as the Vanessa Bayer nomination, the 3rd person for SNL. And the question to me is, will those 2 nominations cut into Kate McKinnon? Because I think this year McKinnon has serious competition, and she could pull it off again. She, is doing a lot of guys like Giuliani.
We're going to get to McKinnon in just a minute, but Chow, Riley or Tony, do you guys have anything about the bottom half of the list?
I'll just say one more thing is that I would be a little surprised if Aidy Bryant ate into more of Kate McKinnon's support than Vanessa Bayer did last year.
One thing I will say that might work in her favor, and I don't mean to jump in front of you in line, Tony, but I guess one of the reasons why Aidy got nominated was because she's been playing Sarah Colonel Huckleberry Sanders on so if maybe there's some rascally Emmy voters who are tired of that lady and want to really stick it to her. Perhaps rewarding the person who makes fun of her week after week after week, aside from myself, that is, might that might be a place they throw their vote.
Better her than Alec Baldwin. Tony?
Yeah, I've got Zazie Beetz in my 5th slot, and I think only really because I think Atlanta is the more popular show in terms of the actors. We saw it. I mean, even when it won Donald Glover for last year, he wasn't necessarily the front runner. So the fact that not only it does win acting awards and it picked up in nominations this year, it certainly got more. It's simply higher on their radar, I think. But this top 4 that we have, oh boy.
And I would be more inclined to put Zazie higher personally. If you could name one other actor or actress from one of these like auteur shows that won, not a guest category.
Good point.
I mean, even if you count 30 Rock, which was more of an ensemble, not the Tina Fey show. You know, Alec Baldwin won, but you know,
she does get these episodes all about her, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just do this before we move on to the top 4, which I know we're all dying to talk about, including myself. Which of these 4 most likely to upset? And I'm going to give Tony first chance.
I'm going to stick with Beetz. I'm going to stick with Beetz.
Riley?
Gilpin and Mullally is not in the top 4.
What? Oh, Gilpin. Got it. Okay. I'm like, sorry, what are you? Sorry. Zach?
She is now. I'll stick with Beetz too.
And Tom?
I go with Beetz, but as has been pointed out, her episodes aren't particularly humorous. So I think I might go with Gilpin.
Yeah, I agree. It's usually like a surprise. It's not usually like one of the series that you think could probably win comedy. But
I should say also that could be a good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no. It would be a good place to award Glow.
Exactly, yeah. Especially since they, for some reason, did not nominate either Alison Brie or Mark Maron. I think they must have been smoking crack when they filled out their Emmy ballots.
That tells you just how competitive supporting actor was that they.
Yeah.
Because there's only 6, so
they had to have another song.
Now we're going to get to the heavyweights. We have Megan Mullally for Will and Grace, past 2-time winner. Laurie Metcalf, Oscar nominee, 2-time Tony winner, 3-time Emmy winner for this role. But 3 years ago, she did lose 3 Emmys in a week. Kate McKinnon, the reigning champion, 2-time champion, but she is without her signature character, Hillary Clinton, this year. And then who I am predicting, Alex Borstein, who I think really could ride the wave of support, but she is so deserving of a win herself for the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Riley, who are you predicting and why?
Yeah, I'm going with Alex Borstein just because I think she was just as good as Rachel Brosnahan in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But I am surprised that she hasn't been able to kind of gain more momentum and be more of a solid front runner. I think it helps that she was nominated for Family Guy this year. But I'm, worried about Kate McKinnon.
Zach?
I would really like for Alex Borstein to win. I think she's wonderful in that show. I mean, it's such a wonderfully original character that she creates, this kind of sexually androgynous, tough as nails, ball busting, comedy manager. And I do think that, she has a really good shot. If Mrs. Maisel is going to be popular on the night, she could certainly get swept along. Although, as Riley said, I mean, she hasn't gained a lot of traction. I'm like, where was this woman's Golden Globe win or her?
Well, you know what? I don't think you can hold the Golden Globes. No, I mean, on the supporting categories, the Golden Globes. I looked this up. It's been 2 years since they've nominated. It's been 3 years since Uzo Aduba, if you count that as a comedy series, was nominated. So they have not nominated anyone from a comedy series.
I know. I'm just using it as an example.
Critics' Choice nomination.
I know. It's all I've got to go up. But anyway, no. What I was gonna say was, the top four, as we call it. Yes, Kate
Just based
McKinnon,
on Gold Derby odds,
right? Exactly. Kate McKinnon could win again, just because we know they like to check things off, and Saturday Night Live hasn't lost that much momentum, although she is, I think, crippled by the loss of her main character, Hillary Clinton. I think I think a lot of Emmy voters perhaps thought of her as playing that, as like that was the role she was nominated for. Megan Mullally could win. The fact that she's the only one from Will and Grace that got nominated is pretty surprising when you consider that I think one of the big weaknesses of the revival was how underused she was throughout the season. But her episode submission was a highlight of this revival. She's absolutely brilliant in it and shows us why it should, Karen should have been used more. Laurie Metcalf's the one who I'm looking at, and I'm like, I can totally see her winning, even though Roseanne is absolutely toxic. I did not predict she was going to get nominated because of that. But the fact that she got in, the fact that she just got an Oscar nomination and is not competing against Allison Janney in this category.
Oh, please, Emmy producers, let them present together.
Let's not forget, I mean, Tom O'Neill, the other Tomo at our website, likes to bring up John Cryer's victory for 2.5 Men a lot when he had to take over the lead actor category once Charlie Sheen had his own meltdown. The thing that could definitely hurt Laurie Metcalf, though, is her star's connection to Donald Trump. So I think I'm just going to go with Alex Borstein, but it's really hard for me to, say that that's a set in stone lock. Anyway, I yield the floor for my monologue.
Tom?
Well, let me start my monologue. I don't think McKinnon had as strong a year without the Hillary Clinton character. I mean, she's still amazing. And it may be that there may be lazy Emmy voters, such as myself, could probably check that off but just by rote. However, I really do hope we go in a different direction. Metcalf, yes, yeah, I know that the other Tomo cites John Cryer. But Charlie Sheen's meltdown seemed to me more personal than political. And I think the political stuff is what's making Roseanne toxic.
And didn't 2.5 Men still get other nominations that year?
I think it got like those.
I think it did.
I think it got those like typical
multicam.
Which
camera work and
Roseanne didn't get any of those. I mean, it used to get nominated for lighting direction every year, and it didn't even get that.
Got editing.
Sorry.
But I mean, I think there is a great deal of, I don't want to say sympathy, but feeling by some people that Laurie Metcalf got, should have won the Oscar over what I thought was kind of a one-note performance by Allison Janney and I, Tanya. Just my opinion.
She's
and I think that Mullally, don't discount her. That episode is dynamite, and it's, I think, one of the best episodes she's had in the entire run of the series, because it does allow her a range of emotion. I mean, she does try and sublimate her grief over the spoiler death of Rosario in her martinis, but when she realizes what really has happened, it does give her a huge arc that she never really had in those kind of one-shot things that she was nominated for in the past. So I would not be surprised if she won, but I'm going to go with Borstein because she is such, her character works so hard on the behalf of the character that we love. We might want to reward her as well. And it's a terrific performance. But I would probably say Borstein, then Mullally.
Tony.
Which is how I have it right now. I think Borstein deserves it on the strength of both her episode and the whole season. But if this were an episode by episode debate, we'd probably be having more talk about Mullally. That episode won the Writers Guild Award for Best Episodic Comedy. They are familiar with this episode at all of the events around Emmy time. This was the episode that was screened for people, and she is almost in all of it, and it ends with such a gut punch for her with this monologue. And she is the only one of the cast that not only got nominated this time, but she's the only one that won twice during the original one of the show. And so, she is beloved, and don't count her out. You count her out at your own expense.
If like Will and Grace had done the kind of Emmy business that a lot of people were predicting it to do, I would absolutely be predicting her to win this in a walk. Like if it had gotten into comedy series, if Sean Hayes had gotten in, or Messing and McCormick had gotten in, if Jimmy Burrows had gotten in, like I would absolutely be predicting.
Well, my problem with predicting Megan Mullally has nothing to do with the show's performance. Mm-hmm. It has to do with her performance. She is a 3-time SAG Award winner. Mm-hmm. She didn't get nominated. So that tells me there's something kind of disconnect. That's how I knew Sean Hayes wasn't going to win, because he's never won without her nominated. No one listens to me. But I think Alex Borstein, she got 2 nominations. And she's not one of those people that's nominated every single year for voiceover. So the fact that they put her back in the category, I think speaks volumes for her. And remember, not that the voters care, but Melissa McCarthy stole her life. Like, she was supposed to be Sookie in Gilmore Girls, and Mad TV wouldn't let her out of her contract. And, we don't know if she had been in 6 seasons of that, if she would be an Oscar nominee and a household name.
And then the Happy Time Murders.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I'm just joking.
I'm just kidding with you.
There's one actress that, who she's definitely should get 1 vote, and it's Melissa McCarthy's as a thank you for not being available, because that was her big break. But I think she's so good in this show. Yeah. I think she should have submitted Mrs. X at the Gaslight, but Doink would have been my second choice for her.
As we know, it might not matter.
It doesn't matter, but I think Amazon has mounted such an aggressive campaign that it's hard to ignore her.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting it's going to be interesting to see if the actors branch of the Academy looks at Maisel aside from Rachel Brosnahan. If they do in fact go for the woman that her name just flew out of my mind, who we're talking about, Alex Borstein. I wanted to say A.D. Bryant, and I was like, no, that's not right. If they go for Alex Borstein or Tony Shalhoub or Jane Lynch, or if they just centralize it around Rachel Brosnahan. But I think that if, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel picks up a lot of hardware on the evening, then Borstein could get carried away with that. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if they just do what they always do and give a third one to Kate McKinnon. I cannot remember anybody's name in this 8 person. I want to say Melissa McCarthy now.
I'm sorry. But I think for Kate McKinnon, if they're paying attention at all, she didn't have her signature character. She didn't have a buzzed about moment that was so YouTube to the point where it's in the zeitgeist of memories. I mean, in the top 10, 20 memories of SNL moments is going to be her singing Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I think for damn it, Laurie Metcalf. I know.
It's collective amnesia.
I think for Laurie Metcalf, when she lost 3 Emmys, so if they love her so much, they should have awarded her 3 damn years ago. Second, I wanted her to win for Lady Bird. I predicted her for everything up to the Oscar. I mean, that performance made me call my mother and tell her I love her. I'm like, so that's what you were trying to do. She's like, I don't know what is the matter with you. I'm like, but I don't know why they would just, I don't know.
Well, I think what separates Laurie Metcalf from Megan Mullally is that the Emmys, they didn't really like either show, but I think Laurie Metcalf has all these external factors that Megan Mullally doesn't, how she lost the Oscar, how she had to deal with, crazy Roseanne. Yeah. So that's why I think that Metcalf can win and Mullally can't.
But I think with all of her campaigning and, sorry.
I like Zach's point about, maybe they won't go beyond the eponymous character in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, kind of like Atlanta last year, where Brian Tyree Henry, he was great last year too. He should have been nominated, but they just sent to Donald Glover.
But I think like with Veep, like Tony Hale orbits around Julia so much. Alex Borstein is kind of the same way. She orbits around Rachel Brosnahan a lot. She's coaching her. She's, so I think it could be a similar one.
We should point out, though, too, that, Tony Hale didn't win until the second season of Veep, although he wasn't nominated for the first.
Yeah.
So
I'm just using it as an example as far as proximity to the lead is concerned. But
I'm just saying we don't know because Rachel Brosnahan has been the only person that has won from the show thus far. So, the Emmys are the only thing that we have to predict as to how they're going to, reward the rest of the cast. We know they like them enough to at least nominate them.
Yeah.
But, whether or not they're going to win, that of course remains to be seen. So,
and I don't know if Kate McKinnon fits into the zeitgeist of 3-time winners. I mean, when you think of like Laurie Metcalf, Doris Roberts, is she really a 3-time in a row kind of winner? Like that is a very rarefied air. And I think like Laurie Metcalf, between doing a Broadway show and campaigning for an Oscar and all of those events, she was not in a lot of Roseanne.
Yeah, she was kind of I think that, like Mullally, she was underused. And John.
Well,
Goodman,
I think it might just be a timing issue, which is not,
Yeah. It's also an issue of, that show is all about placating to crazy Roseanne, as opposed to hearing the viewpoints of everybody else.
I mean, before Roseanne's ambient tweeting, I had a lot of problems personally with. Because it's very 80s and 90s kind of the.
Yeah. Just a note on Mullally, one final one. The first, you may remember that the Will and Grace season was divided in two, and the first half of Will and Grace was Mullally was a little been there, done that. Rosario's Quinceañera was in the second half, which was not eligible yet for the SAG. So I wouldn't put too much stock in.
But they love her. They love her.
They love her, but she wasn't
able to get in.
She didn't do much.
I think she was eligible for the SAG because that same episode won WGA, which has an even earlier cutoff.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you know what? She is such a SAG favorite. She should have been able to get in with it just a so kind of first half of the season, like. I just, for me, it's one of those things. There are a few people who, when they don't get a SAG nomination, it would take into factor where I would place them. She's one of them where, like, if suddenly Julia didn't get nominated for Veep, I'd be like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, this is one of those in that kind of zeitgeist where I'm like, whoa.
In all fairness, though, SAG voters might not know their history and correlation to the Emmys as well as you do, Amanda. So that's they might have forgotten that was they had to. I'm just ribbing you.
Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and give our top two. Tom, you went last time, so you can go first this time.
My top two, I think, would be Borstein first and Mullally second.
Zach?
I want to say that. I mean, I should, as a good Emmy predictor, say Borstein and McKinnon, but I don't feel it for her, so I'm gonna say Borstein and Mullally. Oh hell, Borstein and Metcalf. I don't want to agree with Tom O'Brien.
The nerve.
Riley.
I say Borstein and McKinnon. I don't think Emmy voters necessarily know that Kate McKinnon didn't play Hillary Clinton this year. I think she's still the face of the show too.
Tony?
Borstein and Mullally. It's just obvious to me that those are the two top ones in this one.
And I'm going to go Borstein Metcalf. And my advice to the Emmy producers is get Metcalf and Jenny to present like variety something.
Oh, yes.
Please, you don't have any idea the comedy gold those two ladies would give you, because I'm sure they would both like to they would probably help put it together as far as like tearing into one another's concerned.